There's a thin line between being cautious and being untrusting. While most people live comfortably on the side of blind faith, Sigma males have learned, often the hard way, that skepticism isn't paranoia, it's protection. This isn't about being cold or cynical, it's about something deeper that psychology reveals. Those who observe more tend to trust less, not because they're looking for deception, but because they can't help seeing it. For Sigma males, this heightened awareness often comes at the cost of comfortable ignorance. As author Robert Greene observes, never trust anyone completely. Even the most well-meaning people can act against your interests under the right circumstances. While this might sound harsh, Sigma males see this as a practical way of thinking, shaped by their own life experiences. Think about what happens when you start noticing patterns in people's behavior, not the stories they tell, but the actions they take. Not their promises, but their priorities. Not their words, but their consistent choices. For Sigma males, these patterns tell stories that can't be unlearned. Let's explore 6 compelling reasons why Sigma males maintain their skepticism, not out of fear or bitterness, but from a clear-eyed understanding of human nature. And perhaps by the end, you'll realize their caution isn't just justified, it's necessary. Number 1. Trust gets weaponized against them. Do you remember that one secret you shared that later came back as a threat? Or that personal fear that somehow became someone else's favorite joke? In the wrong hands, trust transforms from connection into control, from bond into bind. Sigma males know this not through paranoia, but through pattern recognition. The art of war scholar Sun Tzu wrote, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." In modern relationships, trust becomes the perfect weapon. Once given, it creates vulnerabilities that others learn to exploit. It's a subtle transformation. The confidences shared in private become ammunition for later conflicts. The weaknesses revealed in trust get used as pressure points. The permissions once given become expectations that chain. Look at how trust gets flipped against Sigma males. Their reliability becomes an obligation. Their consistency becomes chains. Their honesty becomes a tool for manipulation. Those who earn their trust often learn to leverage it, turning "I trust you" into "if you trust me, you'll do this." The weaponization is strategic. Personal information gets stored like ammunition. Shared vulnerabilities become targets for future attacks. Even their predictability, born from trustworthiness, gets used to manipulate outcomes. The most striking part is how this betrayal of trust is wrapped in guilt. After everything I shared with you, or I thought I could trust you, the very trust they gave becomes the chain used to bind them. A Sigma male's response isn't to stop trusting, it's to understand that trust, like any weapon, needs to be handed over carefully. Because some people don't want your trust to build bridges, they want it to build cages. Trust isn't just about whether someone will hurt you, it's about how much ammunition you're handing them if they do.
Number 2, past betrayals taught permanent lessons. Some people learn to swim by taking classes. Others learn by being thrown into the deep end. When it comes to betrayal, most people treat it like a bad swim. They dry off and dive back in. But Sigma males approach betrayal like a crime scene investigator, examining motives, collecting evidence, understanding how it all went wrong. Think of trust like a broken bone that healed wrong. For most people, it mends and they move on, even if it's not quite the same. But for Sigma males, betrayal doesn't just heal, it rewires their entire understanding of human behavior. Ancient philosopher Seneca noted, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. For Sigma males who've experienced deep betrayal, this courage shows up in how they adapt rather than break. Instead of becoming bitter, they become strategic. Instead of closing off completely, they develop better filters. These lessons come in all sizes. The boss who took credit for their work, the friend who switched sides when it was convenient, the partner who only showed loyalty when things were easy. Each betrayal adds another layer to their understanding, another filter to their trust system. What makes their response unique isn't the lack of trust, it's the precision of it. Like a finely calibrated instrument, they learn to measure people's actions against their words, their consistency against their claims, their behavior in hard times against their promises in good times. The lessons stick because they're paid for in pain. But the wisdom gained isn't about avoiding connection, it's about understanding its true price. In a world of handshakes, Sigma males prefer contracts. Not because they expect betrayal, but because they understand prevention beats cure every time. Number 3. People show their true colors too late. Time has a way of unmasking everyone. Like a movie plot twist that suddenly makes you rewatch the whole film differently, people's true nature often reveals itself when the damage is already done. The samurai had a saying, "A sword is tested by cutting a man by his actions." For Sigma males, this testing period often reveals truths too late in the game. The mask slips after trust is given. The true motives surface after investments are made. The real character emerges after bonds are formed. Marcus Aurelius said it best: how much time and effort a man spends in lying to himself by not looking at what he really is. Sigma males see through these self-deceptions, but usually after paying the price of proximity. Take the friend who's generous until they need something bigger in return, the colleague who's supportive until they become competitive, the partner who's devoted until something better comes along. These transformations don't happen overnight. They're slow revelations of what was always there. What sets Sigma males apart isn't their ability to spot these changes, it's their refusal to ignore them once seen. People don't suddenly change. They simply reach a point where maintaining the facade isn't worth the effort anymore. The business deal, it goes sour after months of promises, the friendship that evaporates when status shifts, the loyalty that disappears when times get tough. Each scenario teaches the same lesson. True colors don't change, they just take time to show through the paint. The real tragedy isn't that people show their true nature, it's that they wait until trust is given before letting their masks slip. Number 4, success changes how people treat them. Why do people suddenly act differently around someone who's made it? Success doesn't just open doors, it reveals who was holding them shut in the first place. Sigma males often experience this firsthand as their success and independence lead to a shift in how they're treated. It exposes the shadows of admiration, jealousy, and self-interest lurking around them. At first, the shift seems harmless: a few more compliments, sudden invitations, or a friend who's suddenly extra supportive. But soon, the pattern becomes clear. People aren't celebrating their success. They're positioning themselves to benefit from it. While some may genuinely be happy for them, others see an opportunity to climb on their coattails. Then there's the other side of the coin. The ones who pull away. Friends who can't handle seeing someone succeed where they didn't. Colleagues who go from collaborative to competitive. Success has a way of polarizing people, making it clear who's genuinely happy for you and who feels threatened by your progress. For Sigma males, this behavior pattern becomes a kind of social X-ray. They see through the sudden attention, the convenient timing, the calculated interest. Not because they're cynical, but because they've learned that success doesn't just change your life, it changes how everyone tries to be part of it. Casual acquaintances claim deep connections. Former classmates remember friendship that never existed. Distant relatives suddenly discover their family ties. Each coincidental reconnection comes with an agenda barely hidden behind warm smiles. When the spotlight brightens, the shadows of true intentions become impossible to miss. Number 5. Loyalty is often conditional. The word loyalty has the same problem as the word love. Everyone claims it, few understand it, and even fewer actually demonstrate it. When the winds change direction, most loyalties shift like weather vanes pointing to the strongest breeze. Philosopher Nassim Taleb notes, the test of loyalty comes not when circumstances are easy, but when they are difficult. Sigma males witness this truth repeatedly. Supposed loyalty lasts exactly as long as it's convenient or beneficial to the other person. The friend who backs out when you're no longer the center of attention. The colleague who suddenly stops collaborating when credit is at stake. The partner who hesitates when commitment requires sacrifice. Of course, this isn't always the case. There are truly good people out there who stay loyal no matter what, but Sigma males learn through experience that loyalty often depends on circumstances, not intentions. The conditions are always unspoken but clear: I'll be loyal as long as you're useful, as long as you're successful, as long as you agree with me, as long as it costs me nothing, as long as I don't have a better option. These invisible terms and conditions make a mockery of the concept itself. This pattern gives Sigma males a unique kind of wisdom. They don't expect unconditional loyalty. They just want the conditions to be honest. They'd rather know where they stand than be misled by empty promises. True loyalty isn't measured in words or promises, it's measured in choices made when something better comes along. And those choices reveal a truth that most people aren't ready to face. Loyalty without conditions is as rare as gold without fool's gold. Number 6. Kindness gets mistaken for weakness. There's a quiet strength in being kind, but not everyone sees it that way. Some people mistake kindness for naivety, assuming that a helping hand means a lack of boundaries. Sigma males often find themselves in this position, not because they're weak, but because their kindness stands out in a world that often values taking over giving. Think of the coworker who always goes the extra mile only to have more work piled on them because they'll handle it. Or the friend who always listens but finds their own struggles dismissed when they need support. It's not that these Sigma males regret being kind, they just learn that kindness often invites the wrong kind of attention. Psychologists call this the doormat effect, a phenomenon where people exploit kindness because it's easier than reciprocating it. Sigma males notice this pattern and adapt. They start drawing clearer lines not to stop being kind, but to ensure their kindness isn't taken for granted. For Sigma males, the challenge isn't about shutting people out. It's about being intentional. Kindness without boundaries leads to burnout, while kindness with purpose builds respect. Instead of allowing their actions to be taken for granted, they assess situations carefully. Who truly needs their help and who is simply taking advantage of it? Their kindness becomes more deliberate. A quiet no where it's necessary. A decisive yes where it's meaningful. They're not afraid to step back from people who mistake generosity for an invitation to take more, because here's the truth. Kindness doesn't make you weak. It reveals who's strong enough to give without expecting and who's too selfish to ever return the favor. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing to our channel for more content on the Sigma personality and other related topics. Don't forget to hit the like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay strong and keep evolving.